Scouters, my name is Jim Kane, and are you ready to race? Pinewood Derby is one of the most popular activities of the entire Cub Scouting year, and I want to talk to you about how to make your Pinewood Derby more exciting and more fun for everybody. Cub Scouts consistently rank Pinewood Derby as their favorite activity, so we always want to present an event that's fun and engaging for everyone. When planning your Pinewood Derby, it's important to take inventory of what you have available, as far as your venue, your equipment, and your personnel. So, start with the venue. You're probably going to hold it in the same place where you hold your meetings. Hopefully, your chartered organization has available to you a slightly larger space, especially if you are anticipating a lot of family and friends of the Scouts. Does that space have audio-visual equipment capabilities? It's definitely worthwhile to check. If those things are there, you should absolutely use them. I know in Scouts sometimes it seems like we're allergic to PA systems and microphones, and that's fine when dealing with Scouts. This works. For a group of adults who doesn't know anything about Scouting, doesn't work so well. So, definitely take advantage of those technological advances if you can. If not, can you bring in a portable PA system? Anything to make the experience better for the audience by keeping them informed is a plus. Next, the audio-visual side. Does your venue have video screens, projection equipment, anything like that? Can you take advantage of it? Is there a mixing board or video area that you can plug into? Now we're talking. Think about going to a real NASCAR race. You can't see the whole track at once, but what you can always see is the leaderboard. Now, if we can give a leaderboard experience to the people watching a Pinewood Derby, it helps them keep up. They can see when their Scouts racing. They can see who's winning. Let's talk about your track. Most tracks purchased by PAX now are equipped with electronic scoring gates at the end. That's great. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of figuring out who actually won a heat. And it can be used to create a much more exciting experience for spectators and Scouts alike. Specifically, most of these will hook up to a computer. In fact, the computer is almost required to keep track of all the scoring. Now, if you bought your track over the past few years, you probably also purchased a piece of software to run it. You might have put that onto someone's laptop that gets sent home with them every year and comes back to your unit for the Pinewood Derby, hopefully working. I want to tell you about something better, something that can improve on that, something that can run on almost any computer you can put your hands on, and something that will allow you to make use of all those great screens that might be in your venue. It's a piece of software called DerbyNet. You can go online, you can check it out. Just search for DerbyNet, Pinewood Derby in your favorite search engine. It's free. That's right, no charge. DerbyNet was created by a great scouter by the name of Jeff Piazza. Here's how we put all that technology to work when I was in a pack running a Pinewood Derby. Using the DerbyNet software, we were able to provide multiple separate displays of information to the right groups of people. For those hard-working volunteers in the pit, we had a special pit display that would tell them the cars that were coming up so that they could stage them for faster running of heats. For the audience, we had a live board displaying the currently racing cars' names and Scout names. This is a huge help because the audience, especially the older people in it, may have trouble seeing the cars, and it will have a lot of trouble picking out their Scout's car. But a large, easy-to-read display makes it much more likely that they'll notice when their Scout's car is actually racing. This is great. It keeps the audience engaged, keeps them focused. They get to enjoy all the great names for the cars that your Scouts have come up with. The use of the system actually starts at check-in. DerbyNet offers a check-in screen where you can, with almost any computer that will run a web browser, check Scouts in and make sure that their cars are marked as having passed inspection. You can pre-fill the check-in with a spreadsheet if you like, if you know who's racing, to save a lot of typing on race day. The DerbyNet software includes the ability to send to those big displays a list of who hasn't checked in yet, which is handy for getting the attention of some of those scouts who might have shown up and then forgotten to actually turn their car in. So I know what you're thinking. Well, that all sounds great. I don't know how to make that happen, and I'm not sure there's anyone in my pack who can do it either. In the past, that might have been a problem. The software is not tough to set up, no more so than many other applications you've probably installed, but it might have required a little bit of extra wrenching to get it to do exactly what you want it to do. Well, Jeff Piazza has raised the bar yet again by offering for free 2 packs hosted DerbyNet. If your venue has reliable internet access, you can actually use DerbyNet that's cloud hosted without having to run the server locally yourself. Now, you will still need at least one computer to interface with the timer that's attached to your track, and you'll need a computer to output the video for whatever displays you choose to use, whether you have a picker display, a display for the audience, or something altogether different. But the server setup side of things is taken care of by clicking through a few dialogues. Let's take a look at that now. In order to provide you with this cloud-hosted DerbyNet instance for free, just provide the date of your race, some information about your organization, where you're located, and some contact information. Be sure to use a working email. Then, of course, there are the all-important passwords. Be sure to provide different passwords for the race coordinator and race staff so that you can control who can make changes to the race. Finally, be sure you know what a bus looks like. So as you can see here, I'd fill out the form with my information, click Submit Query, and wait for the email. Now, since I don't want to wait for the email, we'll try this DerbyNet Playground. This setup will be the same whether you're using the cloud-hosted version or one that you've set up locally. It'll look a little different since you won't be running in the playground. For instance, you won't have the fake roster button. But everything else should be the same. If you've used this DerbyNet instance previously, it's a good idea to use the reinitialize button just to make sure you're starting from a clean slate. We don't need to do that because we're just getting started here. I don't have any roster data to import from a spreadsheet, so I'm going to use the fake roster button. 6 DINs, approximately 5 racers apiece. Sounds great. There we have it. We're sent directly to the racer check-in screen. You can see all the racers here have car numbers, and they've all been marked as checked in. Notice they don't have car names. We can certainly submit that, though. I'm not going to give all the cars names. Going back to setup, we can see that now we have 3 of these setup items checked off. We have 2 left. Let's talk a little about adding settings for our track. In order for DerbyNet to correctly calculate things, you'll need to tell it a little bit about your track equipment. Most tracks have 4 lanes, and the track for our pack was actually 44 feet. You can also configure how you want to segregate your racers, by pack, by DIN. In our case, we normally used a class that was either scouts or siblings and parents. Siblings and parents ran according to a slightly different set of rules,
so we didn't want them running against scout cars who had to follow the full book of rules. You can also configure how racer names are displayed on the Now Racing page, whether you want to see the racer's full name or just their first name and last initial, which can save a little space. Here we come to the section where we control how DerbyNet awards trophies. DerbyNet can be set up to automatically hand out trophies based on standings, that is, for the fastest racers. You can change how many are awarded for each group and subgroup and at the entire pack level. There's the fairness box here that you can check to make sure that each racer can only receive one trophy. And if you track cars that were made exclusively by scouts, you can offer a separate set of awards for those. Now, it's also possible to skip all this and just assign the awards yourself, which is something we did. But if you don't have those special needs, it's certainly fine to let DerbyNet handle this part for you. The next section shows how DerbyNet handles images. DerbyNet has some great features around images, specifically taking in photos of racers and their cars and displaying those photos on the Now Racing page live. This is a great way to catch people's attention and to let scouts see themselves on the big screen, which, as you know, always gets them excited. Finally, DerbyNet has the ability to even handle replay videos. Now, those topics are far beyond the scope of this video, but the features are there, and should you decide to use them, they don't cost any extra. Finally, we come to a section of tunables for how DerbyNet uses the timings from individual heats to determine standings. I recommend you leave these as is, that is, all the boxes unchecked, and with the scoring method set to average all heat times. Since we're running each car in each lane, we don't have to worry about dropping a slowest heat or taking a fastest heat to try and even out maybe any unevenness or differences between run times across lanes. Now that setup's complete, let's go back. There's only one thing left to do, and that's set up awards. I do recommend that if you have time, you make a spreadsheet with the award data in it. It's handy to have around so that you can import it more than once should the need arise. What goes in that spreadsheet? Well, let's look at the awards editor page. For a new award, you'll need to provide an award name, such as Best in Show, and then you'll need to categorize that award. This will be a design trophy award, meaning that it's not a speed award, but we will award a trophy for it, and in our case, we would award this at a pack level. Now that award exists, we can go back to our setup and see that all the setup items have been completed. There are a few other things to show you before we get started racing. Specifically, the kiosk dashboard. One of the big selling points, as if you were buying this, of DerbyNet is its ability to broadcast video to multiple locations depending on the kind of information that you need to display. So here, I'm going to pretend that we have another computer set up to be a kiosk. Now, the process for setting up as a kiosk, it's pretty simple. It will involve opening a web browser and going to a specific address, and then you'll see this page right here. So this kiosk is brand new. This could be running on another computer. I just happen to have it here. And it gets a special unique name. Now if we come back to our DerbyNet setup page, we can see that kiosk has appeared here. Let's assign this to the main alias. This can help you keep track of where the kiosks are. Now you can choose what to display on that kiosk. As you can see, DerbyNet offers a variety of screens to display, from the flag, for when you have the Pledge of Allegiance, to the Please Check In screen, for when you have scouts that need to check in, to the Now Racing page. You can go ahead and enable this before the race begins. And as soon as the race starts, you'll see information about the currently running cars and their times as soon as they cross the finish line. Other choices include the award presentation screen and a general welcome screen that's helpful for testing. Now that you know how to operate the kiosks, we can talk about how to get a race started. To do that, visit the Race Dashboard. Notice that you can see there's a round set up already for each of our dens. You can set those up depending on how you run your races. Some packs run rounds for each den. Some run a single round for all dens. The choice is up to you. For the first round, we need to schedule the racers first. DerbyNet has a great scheduling system called Partial Perfect End Pairing. It's a bunch of math that ensures that each racer races in every lane one time and that no two racers race against each other more than once. This ensures a nice random distribution and keeps one racer from beating another one repeatedly, which is just not fun. So, from here we can click the Schedule button. And for now, we're going to schedule only. You could start the race if you wanted to, but I like to review things and make sure I'm ready to go. Let's go to the races. To do that, we'll go to the Race Dashboard, select the round that we've already scheduled, click the Race button. Now, as you can see, we're racing. The timer says it's connected. It says it's staging right now. The race is running. And there you can see the timings. Now, these are all fake. They're generated by a fake timer. I don't have an actual racetrack here. But if we wait a few seconds, we'll see the next race, or the next heat, staging. While the race is going, this is a good place to monitor everything and keep on top of it, but you don't have to stay on this page. It won't affect the race if you go back and maybe change a kiosk or something like that. I'm actually going to go change the other kiosk to now racing. So that we can watch that. Well, that was a really short round. There were only 4 fake lions. So our first round is done. Let's go back. Let's schedule the second one. Like I said, we can watch the race from here. We can reconfigure parts of the race. We can check the standings. Just be sure that if you're using one computer to both coordinate the race and display things, that you don't go to a page you don't want scouts to see. Notice the button here for Rerun Previous. If tragedy should befall and you have to rerun a heat, it's possible to pause racing, use the Rerun Previous button, and re-input results. Alright, I think we've run enough races, so we can proceed to the next section. Let's go to the judging table. The judging page is where we can assign the awards that DerbyNet hasn't already assigned for us via the automatic speed trophy calculations that we set up earlier. Remember, we set a Best in Show Design Trophy award. Today, that award was won by Tamika Harmon. We can assign the award one of 2 ways. We can drag the award to the Scout's car, or we can drag the Scout's car to the award. Either way works. Now that we have assigned the award, we can present them. To do so, let's go to the kiosk dashboard and change our display from Now Racing to Award Presentations. If we go to the award presentation screen, it's blank right now because we haven't started the process. When we go to the Present Awards page, it'll list all the awards that we need to present. You can take them in whatever order you like. You can also change to only present a specific class of award. Let's change to Design Trophy for starters. When we click on Best in Show, the award is displayed here on our screen, but on the big screen, it only gives the award name. It doesn't say yet who won it. When the announcer gets to the point of suspense and we want to reveal the winner, click the slider, and there it is. Alright, let's clear that award and go back to the All Awards so that we can award the other ones. Same thing happens here. You click an award, the award name appears at the top. When you're ready to reveal the winner, click the slider, and the winner shows up. You can also disable the confetti effect if needed.
One note: be sure you practice the award presentation process in DerbyNet before the actual Pinewood Derby. This is an area where it really pays to get it right. Once the awards presentation is complete, your Pinewood Derby is probably over, but the questions are just beginning. Every parent's going to want to know how their Scout's car did. One way to handle this is to change your kiosk to display the standings. Go to the kiosk page, change the display to the standings choice, make sure to select Pack or your top level class, and then click Reveal All. This will allow everyone to get a view of all the standings on the big screen. I know, Pinewood Derby's over. It's time to go home. You're probably already thinking about the next Pinewood Derby, District. Before you put the computer away, it's a great idea to make a backup copy of the results. Go to the Export Results page and export all the results in the format of your choice. Having the results in a spreadsheet is really important, both as a backup and as a way to make sure that you send the right scouts to District Derby, and even find alternates if some of them can't go. So be sure to do it and save it to something that you can take with you, like a thumb drive. I hope this tour of DerbyNet has given you a great taste of what's possible with this software. It's been fantastic for our pack. We've used it for 5 years, and every year it's gotten better and better. The developer, Jeff Piazza, answers his emails, takes requests, works with you. What more could you ask for? Oh, did I mention it's free? So, I highly encourage you, especially if you have an adult volunteer in your pack who's comfortable with technology, to give this a look. It can take your derby to the next level. If you liked this video, come back soon for my next derby video about things that aren't technology, but are still super important for your Pinewood Derby experience. Thanks for watching.